I want to share with you an original idea on the Parsha, and bear with me. I hope that it makes sense. But it's something that occurred to me in reading the Psukim. So, in this week's Parsha, we have Yakov Avinu. So we've now transitioned. Last week we spoke a whole bit about Avraham and Yitzchak, and this week we're now in the world of Yakov Avinu. And Yakov, at the end of last week's Parsha's Toldos, Yakov Avinu realizes, and he's told by his parents, that he should flee from their house. He should flee from where he's living with his parents and with Esav, because Esav is out to kill him. And now he has to go and search for his wife in Haran. So Yaakov leaves Be'er Shava. It says, Vayetzei Yakov mi Be'er Shava, Vayelech Harana. So he leaves Be'er Shava, where he was, and he goes to Haran. So this is a story now, what we're being introduced to. If you remember last week, what I tried setting up as the way that we're going to be learning the Chumash is that the way to learn Chumash is to read what's happening in the Chumash as paradigms of dynamics that take place in our life. The Torah is teaching us about the way that things unfold in our lives. It's telling us stories about ourselves. It's telling us stories about the way that we experience things, and it's telling us these stories because we may not realize what we're truly experiencing. There are layers and layers of depth to every experience that a person has. And oftentimes we understand certain components of what we're experiencing, but we don't have all the aspects, all the dimensions, and all the layers. The Torah, Hashem, has an understanding, of course, a grasp on all of it. And through the Torah, he is introducing us to ourselves. It's actually an amazing concept. So if we just pause to try and understand this again before we go into what this particular story is, but trying to understand the way to learn the Torah. The way to learn the Torah is that Hashem is giving us, it's as if he wrote us a letter. The Torah, the Chumash, is a letter from Hashem saying, my child, you are a very, very deep and complicated being that I created. I want to help you understand yourself. And furthermore, the journey that I'm sending you on in this world that I've created you in is a very complex journey. And I want to help you understand that journey. So I want to help you understand yourself, and I want to help you understand your experiences. And so here, I'm giving you something called the Torah, and the Torah is the way that I can introduce you to yourself, and that I can introduce you to your experiences. It's the way to help you understand what is going on inside yourself and what is going on in the world around you. That's what the Torah is about. So it's not a story about Yaakov Avinu in a place geographically called Be'er Sheva, going to a place geographically called Haran. That happened, but that's not why the Torah is telling it to us. The Torah is telling it to us because we have a story. Being Yaakov Avinu, we have the story, we live the story, we are Yaakov, and we have the experience of going from a place called Be'er Shava to a place called Haran. Even if we've never stepped foot in Be'er Shava, and even if our name is not Yaakov, and even if we've never gone to Haran, we have that story. So the Torah is teaching us about our story through the story that it tells. So what is this story about? Last week we talked about the story of digging wells and how in some sense that's the story of our lives. This week we're learning about a different story. We're learning about a story of what happens when a person leaves somewhere that they love, somewhere that they feel at home. What is the experience? What happens inside of you when you go from a state of connection, a state of being inspired, a state of feeling like things are clicking, things are good, things are where you want them to be. You feel a sense of understanding and clarity, and you are, maybe not everything's perfect, of course, but things are flowing. That's called Be'er Shava. Be'er Shava. That's what that's called. It's a place where Yaakov Avinu was at home. This was where Yitzchak and Rivka lived, his parents who were the holiest, biggest people in the entire world. That's where they lived. That's where he grew up. He was in their home. And it's a place where the wells were dug, Be'er Shava, the 7 wells. And it's a place of Shava is also a language of Shvua, of an oath. There was a connection. There was something solidified. He was in that place. And he had just received the brachas, the blessings that he wanted from his father, from Yitzchak Avinu. So everything was where he wanted it to be. And he was good. There was light. And now, Vayetzei Yakov meBe'er Shava. He had to leave. He had to go. He was exiled, in a sense. He had to flee from this place of feeling solid, inspired, connected, flowing, where the wells were open and undug and revealed and uncovered. He had to leave, Vayetzei. And where did he have to go? Vayelach, he had to go somewhere called Haran. Haran is not a place of light. Haran is not a place like the place of Yitzchak and Rivka. Haran is a place where all sorts of characters and conniving, manipulative people live. Haran is not the homeland that Yaakov Avinu was used to. Now we have to understand what happens on this journey from the place of connection, leaving there and going into the experience of disconnect. And like I said, that's why the Torah is telling us about this, not to tell us stories. The Torah is telling us this because every one of us has that experience. That is the story of our lives again and again and again. We have moments where we feel that we are where we want to be. Things are where we want them to be. We have a good day. We have a good week. We have a good experience. Whatever is in our lives that we're looking for, that we're hoping for, it's coming through. It's happening. I'm feeling good in myself. I'm feeling good in my family. I'm feeling good in my home. And then all of a sudden, something happens. Sometimes it's a shift just in our mood, something internal. Sometimes it's something someone else says. Sometimes it's something that happens at work. Could be something financial. Could be something with someone's health. Could be with a family member. Could be with a spouse. Could be with a child. There's so many ways, too many ways, countless ways, endless ways. We all know that all of a sudden, Vayetzei Yakov meBe'er Shava. We're all of a sudden we're thrown out of Be'er Shava. Yakov didn't just leave. It wasn't like he booked a ticket, a first-class ticket, and was going to some resort somewhere. He was running for his life. He was thrown out in a sense. That was the Vayetzei. And again, we all have that experience of feeling like, what just happened? This room that was so light all of a sudden just became so dark. Vayelech Haran, I'm going to Haran. What's Haran? Haran is darkness. So the Torah now is going to tell us the story of what do we do when we experience that? What is happening in ourselves? So here's how I want to read what happens. This is just an original thought. I hope it's true, or I hope it has some truth, I should say. I think it goes like this. So when Yaakov is fleeing now, he's exiled from the place of light, and all of a sudden he's cast outside his home, on his own, completely alone, without his mother, who he was so close with, without his father, who he was so admiring of. What does he do? What's the first thing that happens? Vayifka b'makom. Vayifka b'makom. The way I want to read this is he threw an assault on God. He was angry at Hashem. Vayifka is like a pigua. It's like an attack. He attacked God. He was angry with makom, with hamakom, with Hashem. So Yaakov, in that state of distress, was angry with Hashem. So what did he do in his anger? Vayolen sham. He lied down. He was like, I'm just going to camp out. I'm going to set up camp, and I'm just going to stay put here. Kiva Hashemesh, because the sun was setting. Meaning, in Yaakov's mind, he was checking out. He was angry at Hashem, and what does a person do when they're very angry? Sometimes, different people have different responses, as we're going to talk about a little bit. What did Yaakov do in his Vayifka b'makom, his anger at Hashem? He checked out. Vayolen shan, I'm done. I'm done. Kiva Shemesh, the sun is setting. Maybe that means literally the sun was setting, or it means in Yaakov's experience the sun was setting. Yaakov felt that the sun was setting. It was becoming dark. So he's just checking out. What did he do? Vayikach me'avnei hamakom. He took the rocks, the stones of that place. Vayasem me'rashosov. And the way I want to read what this means is, again, this is not the simple reading, I'm suggesting this. What he's doing is he's taking these rocks and he's putting them by his head, meaning to say, he is turning his brain off. He's turning his brain into stone. Like even psychologically, you know the term to stonewall? To stonewall means I'm checking out. I'm turning into stone. I might be here, but you'll see it in my eyes. I'm not here. I am in my brain inside, it's just rock. It's turned into stone. So Yaakov takes the stones and he puts them by his head, meaning I am turned off of Hashem. In my anger, vayifka b'makom, I'm angry at Hashem. Now I'm checking out. The sun is down, meaning I'm turning it all dark, and I'm turning my head into stone. I'm not thinking anymore. I'm not engaging anymore. There's nothing flowing. I'm not speaking to you, God. I'm not feeling anything to you, Hashem. I'm just turning all feelings off. I'm turning all thoughts off, and I'm just turning to stone. So what does he do then? Vayishkav b'makom hahu. He goes to sleep. Maybe it means he literally goes to sleep, because in that state, something that people will do is just go to sleep. Or maybe it means he just went to sleep in the figurative sense. He was still awake. Could be he was walking around, but he was asleep. Now we all know what that means. We all know what that means, that you could be awake, but you could be completely asleep. You could be alive, but you're completely dead. You can be in a state where you're completely turned off. Your brain is stone. In your world, it's completely dark outside, even if it's light outside. And in your world, you're completely asleep, even if you're awake. That's what Yaakov Avinu did. In the experience of being cast out of his parents' house, being thrown out into the wild all alone, leaving the moment of connection and now wandering into an experience of disconnect. So if I feel disconnected, I'm angry and now I'm totally disconnected. I'm done. So then what happens? Vayachalom. Hashem gives Yaakov a dream in that state. He gives him a dream. And he says he's talking to him through the dream. And what happens in the dream? We all know. Vihine sulam mutzav arza. There's a ladder. Virosho magia hashemayma. Vihine malache elokim olim v'yordim bo. There's this ladder, and the top of the ladder goes up to Shemaim. It goes up to the heavens. And the bottom of the ladder is rooted in the ground. And there's angels. The angels are going up the ladder and down the ladder. What does this represent? What is Hashem showing Yaakov Avinu? He's saying to Yaakov Avinu, in life, there are times that you will feel like an angel going up the ladder, up to Shemaim. You will feel that things are where you want them to be, things are good, things are moving, things are progressing, you're feeling elevated, you're feeling inspired, you're feeling connected to your spouse, to your children, to friends, to community, to God, whatever it might be, to your work, to your passions, to your creativity, whatever it is, to your simple goodness. You feel connected, you're going up the ladder to Hashem. And then there are times, Hashem is saying to Yaakov Avinu, that you're going to feel like you're going down the ladder. You're going to feel like you're going down the ladder. That you're not connected. But then Hashem says in the dream, what does he show him in the dream? Vihine Hashem nitzav alav. Hashem shows himself standing on top of the ladder. And he says, Vayomar, and he says, Ani Hashem, I am Hashem. Elokei Avram Avicha, Elokei Yitzchak. I am Hashem, the Father, the God of your father, Avram, and of Yitzchak. Ha'aretz asher atah shochev aleh, the land that you are sleeping on. Again, he might have been awake, but the land that you're sleeping in, that you're stonewalled in, that you're just turned off, that you're checking yourself out. L'cha adnena ulezaracha. I will give that to you and your family. So here's how I want to read it. What Hashem is saying to Avram is, your anger to me, the feeling of going down the ladder, I'm giving that to you. I'm giving you permission to have that. L'cha etnena ulizaracha. I'm giving that to you and to your children. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to be angry at me. You're allowed to go down the ladder with an anger, with vayifka b'makom. That you have permission to do. Because if you're angry at me, you're angry at me. If I've done something that angers you, you can be angry with me. And then he continues, he says, and I'm not going to read all through it, but you're going to spread out and you're going to go to all corners of the world, and everyone's going to be blessed through you, and I'm going to watch over you, and I'm going to bring you back. And then what happens? Vayikatz Yakov Mishna, so he jumps out of his sleep. And he's actually, Vayikatz is not just that you jump out of your sleep, it's like a disgust with the sleep. He's disgusted with his sleep. Meaning, what Hashem is saying, I believe, to Yakov, and the message Yakov got, which again is the story Hashem is giving us for ourselves, is you can be angry with me. You can go down the ladder. But look at the dream. The angels are always moving. They're going up the ladder, down the ladder, up the ladder, down the ladder. You will have moments of going down the ladder. You'll have moments of feeling like you want to turn your back on me, that you're angry with me. And then I'm giving you permission to do that, to be that way. You're allowed to have your feelings, and you're allowed to do that. But don't go to sleep on me. Don't check out. Be angry with me. I'd rather you be angry with me than stonewall on me. And that's why Yaakov was then Vayikatz Mishnaso. He's not rejecting Vayifka Bamakom. He's not rejecting the anger to Hashem. He's rejecting the going to sleep on Hashem. And I think this is a really important, deeply important message. Because I think many people over the course of their lives experience either different things in their lives, with family, with money, with health, different life experiences, or they experience things within their Judaism that they become disenchanted. They become turned off of Hashem. They become turned off of what Judaism is about. They're getting messages in ways or content or from people that doesn't resonate with them. It doesn't seem connecting. It doesn't seem like it speaks to them. There are certain things that happen in life that can make me think that God doesn't have my best interest in mind. We all have those experiences in our lives and in our Judaism. And Hashem is saying here to every one of us, in your experience of Vayetzei from Be'er Shava and going to Haran, be angry at me. Don't go to sleep on me. Don't turn your brain into stone. Because if you check out on me, then we have no relationship. If you go cold, if you turn into stone, if you go to sleep even while you're awake, if you turn off the lights even while it's light outside, now we're not talking. We're not connecting. We're not in a relationship. There's no energy. There's no going up and going down the ladder. There's no movement. And if there's no movement, if there's no life, then there's no life. Then there's no connect. There's nothing. Nothing's happening. There's nothing to work with. The apathy, the indifference, the being checked out, that's game over. But to be angry with me, no, I'm giving you that. Because that's to have a real relationship. I just read, there's a new magazine that I'm participating in as a writer. It's called Pinpoint. Someone from Chicago is actually putting it out. It's very beautiful. This is the first week it just came out. So one of the other writers actually told a story there about Rav Dessler. That there was a group of students walking with Rav Dessler, and one of them just had some sort of tragedy in his life. I forgot exactly the details. And he was talking to Rav Dessler in front of all the other students about all his questions on Hashem and his anger with Hashem. And afterwards, one of the other students, after he left, I think it was like his friend, one of the students brought a friend of his that was then saying all these things about Hashem to Rav Dessler. And the student of Rav Dessler who brought that friend apologized to Rav Dessler afterwards. And Rav Dessler's response was, that man has belief. That man's a mammon. He has belief in Hashem because he's angry with Hashem. What this Parsha is about is when you are in that experience of movement from where things are the way you want them to things not being the way you want them, allow yourself to feel the feelings and express them. Bring them to Hashem. Bring them into conversation with Hashem. Be chutzpahdik. Be angry. Speak. As opposed to stonewalling, as opposed to checking out and shutting it all off. And if we're not sure where to find our connection, our meaning in our lives as Jews, because the Judaism that we feel we're being taught or told is not meaningful to us, so be angry about it. Don't be indifferent about it. Being indifferent about it means it's over. It's not alive anymore. It's dead. We've pulled the plug. Being angry about it means it still has a heartbeat. It still has a pulse. It's still alive. Now we can work with it. Hashem should help us that we should all have more experiences of the day being alive, and that when we have the moments of feeling like it's not alive, that we can access those feelings that have life to them and bring them into conversation with Hashem, even in our anger, so that we can work through it and we can still stay in that connection, in that relationship. Have a great Shabbos, everybody.